AJ on AJ's Heli Journey here, and after a couple of successful flights with the OMP M2, we're ready to move on to a bigger heli, which is the Trex 500 here. And I think that kind of brings me to what I want to talk about in this video, which is how to, or what is the best way to come back from a crash. If you were like me, the first couple crashes that I had, I know it really kind of rocked my world, so to speak. It really ate at my confidence in being able to fly, and I was really nervous to get back into flying again, just because you know, I don't think anybody wants to crash. I think it's one thing to accept the fact that crashing happens. If you watch my last video, whatever your number is, so to speak, or frequency of being okay with crashing, I don't think anybody wants to crash. And if you have other factors that play into that, which is that, you know, maybe you don't have a lot of funds to sink into repairing, and or maybe you just don't want to put in the time to have to repair, then it becomes more and more scary to crash. So yeah, I think that the first couple crashes, it really kind of shook my confidence. But after that, I realized that, it really wasn't that bad. And the best way for me to overcome crashing was just to get back in the air again as quickly as possible. Now, when I say that, that's not to say that I think you should rush into it. And I don't think I rushed into getting back in the air even this time after a crash. As you saw in my last video, I didn't just jump right away to my Trex 500. I pulled out a smaller heli that I was less anxious to fly, and I guess more comfortable with crashing if something went wrong. So I wasn't that nervous in getting back in the air. So I don't think you should rush into it, but you should definitely think about and err on the side of getting back into flying rather than putting it off for too long. Because I also think that if you wait too long or put it off for too long, maybe it's possible it could kind of get to your head and maybe manifest a little bit worse and make you even more anxious to fly. So I didn't rush. Not only did I start with the M2, I put in a lot of sim time in between the crash and getting out to the field today. Part of that was that I didn't have the time to get out in the field, but also because I wanted to kind of reinforce that confidence, so to speak. So anyways, I think that that's a great way to overcome a crash. Now, if that's not your way, let me know in the comments what type of advice do you have, or what is your way to kind of bounce back from a crash, or is it still something that really is difficult for you to overcome? I don't know. So let me know. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Anyway, so as I'm flying here, you can see that, the TikToks weren't so great there, because I really do feel that I've gotten pretty comfortable with doing them on the 700, and I've said several times now, this heli flies a little bit different. That's not to say that it's okay with me that, I'm sloppy with TikToks on this heli. It's just that I gotta find a way to adjust quicker with doing them on this heli. I also in that last flight, started to do some of the half piro flips again. And with this flight, I think I spent the entire flight just doing the half piro flips with this heli. You know, just so that I could get back to what I was working on with the Goblin 380, which was to just get comfortable with the helicopter in these positions. I know that I can do this, but I'm far from being comfortable enough to do it casually. I need to kind of focus and set myself to be able to do this maneuver still, which is fine, but I want to get to that point where I can do it automatically. And as you can see, I'm getting there with this heli. This is it's a little bit more stable than obviously the M2 and even the Goblin 380, so that part of it is nice. And now I'm working on trying to keep it more in one spot, one place, one altitude. I kind of figured out some things on the sim when I was working on it, and the other thing that I am working on here is getting comfortable with how fast, or I guess in this case, how slow the tail is rotating. So I just find that in my sim, the rudder or the pirouettes are a little quicker, or they respond a little bit quicker. So with this heli, I have to give more of an input to get it a little quicker, and that's what I'm kind of playing with here. I'm playing with different amounts of rudder input so I can try and get it more consistent and a little bit closer to how it feels in the sim. So I just what that is for me here is that I feel I've got to give, you know, more rudder to get my timing with the cyclic better. So I find that when I don't give enough rudder, I find that I don't end up, like I've talked about in the past, I don't end up with tail where I expect it to be, which is tail end to me in that inverted hover. So, but you know, you can see here I'm doing them repeatedly, one after the other, so that comfort level is getting there, and the stick movements are getting there. So anyways, we'll just finish up this video watching me fly out the rest of the battery pack, and yeah, let me know. I look forward to reading your comments on ways that you feel are a good way to come back from a crash. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what I said, and we'll go from there. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.
20 seconds.